Now, having just recorded a video over Jusant, a completely meditative and just built off of those Zen vibes type game, I felt it was great to kind of chase that shot with a little bit of a nice, relaxing bit of violence. I don't know any other ways to say this, but today we're going to be talking about everything you absolutely need to know about Ghostrunner 2. Now, I'm making this video pretty late, but I'm hoping it finds somebody before it's completely irrelevant and the game's out. So, Ghostrunner 2, naturally, is the sequel to Ghostrunner. That's the first thing you need to know about the game. Do I recommend playing the first game? Absolutely yes. Is it essential for you to play the first game before you play the second one? Honestly, for that one, I'm not entirely sure either. But what I do know is I just played the demo for this game, and it feels better than ever. I'll have, of course, some gameplay of mine, as well as trailers playing in the background of this video. So with that being said, Ghostrunner 2 is coming out October 26th, 2023, from the developer One More Level, and published once again by 505 Games. And this is a next-gen game. It's, of course, going to be on PC, Xbox Series X and S, and then the PS5. And this is where it gets actually pretty messy because, there are like 3 different versions of the game. The base version of Ghostrunner 2 is $39.99 US. And then you've got, of course, the deluxe and brutal editions of the game for $50 and then $70. So quite a lot of value there if that's what you're into. Some of it comes down to simple cosmetics and stuff like that. But what gets really interesting is the brutal edition of the game, the full $70 price version, which I did want to sit with for just a moment. So by pre-purchasing the Brutal Edition, you do get 48-hour early access, which is 2 days early. So rather, instead of the 26th, it's going to be the 24th instead. And of course, outside of all of the cosmetics and stuff like that, which I'm not going to go over each of those things, it doesn't matter if you don't care about the game, you're also going to get the Season Pass as well, which will include 4 cosmetic packs and 1 new game mode. And that season pass is valued at $19.99 US, so or $20 value. But with that being only 1 game mode, I'm not really sure what that means. So honestly, I don't really know if this is something that's going to be good or not. Now with that being said, I feel like we've covered everything as far as your options for buying the game and when and where you can play the game. But what we really need to kind of bunker down with for the rest of the video is, what is Ghostrunner 2? What defines it? And the Steam page reads as this: Blood will run in this highly anticipated hardcore first-person slasher set 1 year after the events of Ghostrunner. Adventure through a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk future that takes place after the fall of the Keymaster, a tyrant who ruled over Dharma Tower, the last refuge of mankind. Jack is back to take on the violent AI cult that has assembled outside of Dharma Tower, and he's going to shape the future of humanity, featuring incredible katana combat mechanics, a deeper exploration of the world beyond Dharma Tower, non-linear levels with complex motorbike sections, exciting new modes, and all the action you loved about Ghostrunner. I have to say, everything I played from the demo supports this nearly 100%. The only thing I didn't get were the open-ended sections with the motorbike segments. There was a motorbike segment in the demo, and I have to say it was one of the most badass things I feel like I've ever done. They've almost successfully made Jack into a Master Chief level character or a Doomslayer type character in this world. Maybe not quite that badass yet, but he's definitely on his way there. And I think that felt really strong in the demo, and I really like that. And I think it feels the best when you're on the motorbike, and there's like so much cool stuff when it comes to that. But there are other things that they're touting for this game, such as boss fights are way more interactive this time around. If I had to give anything about the first game I didn't really like, it was probably the boss fights and the way, I don't know, like, it was simple yet almost too hard in a way. And these games are hard. That's something that should be important very early on. And with that being said, it feels like they're going to lean into giving players a little bit more of a chance by giving players the freedom to choose how to survive battles against the toughest of opponents. Ghostrunner 2 introduces new skills, allowing players to be more creative and take on even the most demanding encounters with great accessibility. Enemies in Ghostrunner 2 behave uniquely dependent on the skills used against them, providing a fresh challenge with each encounter. The player progression system has been completely redone, providing opportunities to experiment and customize gameplay. Now I have to say, in the demo, I didn't get any type of taste of this entirely, but one thing I did like about the demo was that it threw you into all of the mechanics of the first game within like the first 5 to 10 minutes. And I really appreciated that this wasn't going to be a Metroid situation where you're going to lose all of your abilities. but it really does throw you into the thick of it. And while it did take me a few minutes to adjust to, the one-hit death combat, I really, really enjoyed the precision that it made me go for. Another big aspect of the game are the immersive, mind-bending features. You're going to need to master the Cyber Void if you hope to survive. Now, the Cyber Void was a big point of contention from the first game, I feel, and some of the presentation of that I think some people didn't like, but I personally did. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of this mind place in a sense. I don't want to use the Alan Wake 2 term too correctly here, but it's a different place than the reality that you're actually in. Otherwise, when you are in the real world, you're going to take on challenging new enemies as you traverse interactive environments, including exploding barrels, destructible walls, helpful neutral entities, and countless improvements that keep combat exciting and fresh. And most of these were present within the demo. The only thing I really didn't see were the neutral entities that can help you. One thing I will say from the first game compared to this one that I liked way more is that the game just felt, I don't want to say easier, but like more player friendly. And to that, I think that's what they mean by some of these improvements that keep the combat feeling exciting and fresh. Because with, ease of use for the player, it means that the player is able to feel way more badass while doing crazier things. And if you can't get enough of these improvements and changes, you can dive even deeper into the lore and plot with the new dialogue system. Now, this is something that was not in the demo. However, what was in the demo was some of the dialogue as you're moving through the levels between 3 characters, specifically Jack and 2 female characters. And I have to say, man, I don't know. The dialogue was witty, it was good, and I don't know, I feel like at points it may fall into that cringe category, but it hasn't done that yet. It almost teetered on it at one point, but it wasn't there for me. So overall, I really like that. Continuing with the sounds of the game, you're going to be able to save humanity in style as you decimate your opponents while listening to the captivating synthwave soundtrack featuring new music from these people here. I'm not going to say who they are because, quite frankly, I don't feel the right to. I don't know who these people are. I'm sorry. I'm excited to hear it because the instrumental or, non-vocal soundtrack that I was hearing from the demo was all really good. And now to actually round out the final bit of this video, I wanted to kind of explain the immediate gameplay loop of Ghostrunner 2 in a way that's just kind of all summing up. And then after that, I'll get out of your hair and you can just go and play your silly little video games. The basic idea is you drop into a level where you can go through on foot and you'll have to defeat enemies as your way of progressing. You'll have platforming, wall running, jumping on rails, and opening, closing doors, sliding, gaining momentum, different forms like this to progress through the levels, multiple different types of enemies, each of them reacting differently and requiring you to do different strategies to actually defeat them. Seeing as how it's a one-hit death mode and one-hit kill, then it works out in a lot of your favor as being a very stressful game. Now, you do have some abilities, and they're all necessary to progress. First off, you have the Shoryuken, which is, your throwing projectile. You can unlock doors, trigger explosive barrels, and take down enemies from a distance. Then you also have to switch to your Tempest ability in the demo, which is a powerful blast that can eliminate multiple enemies at once. You can also perfect your timing to deflect enemy projectiles back at them, and you'll need them in certain instances to interact with essential objects, such as pushing a fan to the right spot to where it's going to blow you to where you need to go. Another option you have while in the air is the sensory boost. Holding down the button will allow you to slow down time, granting you the agility to dodge incoming attacks with precision. Say you're running at an enemy and they've shot a bullet at you and you're going to get hit. You go ahead and use sensory boost, hop off to the side, and then you can quickly close that gap. This can also help to overcome challenging obstacles and also collect hard to reach items as well. The final example of an ability in the demo was the grapple hook. You can use the grapple hook to swing through the environments with ease, reaching new heights and exploring hidden areas. And that's pretty self-explanatory, but it's used quite a bit in the gameplay, and it feels really, really good. Now, of course, you progress through these levels. As we've already said, some of these levels are going to be capped off with boss fights. Maybe not always. I'm not really sure what the frequency of that will be. Now, what's really interesting is you're going to actually be able to go to your armory in between missions to look at your unique collectibles that you found, as well as looking at all of the weapons and items you've unlocked so far. And this is also where you're going to interact with upgrades for the new progression system as well. And it's unclear if this is a point where you're going to be talking to the Climbers faction, which is the friendly faction in the game for you, and you're going to be, utilizing the NPC dialogue system. I'm really hoping that's the case because it really seems like the levels are going to be very fast paced. So I hope it's not a situation where you can just talk to an NPC in the middle of a level. I like to keep those two aspects of the game separate, if you know what I mean. But regardless, that's about it. Of course, there's aspects of the game that are going to be completely different. I'm sure there will be other upgrades, other items that you can unlock, and a different level of enemies and variety that I'm not privy to as someone who hasn't played the game yet, other than the demo. What I can say for sure is the game feels really good to play, and I'm really excited to see more. In the first game, and having played that already only gives me confidence that this is going to be an absolute banger. Consider subscribing and letting me know if you want to see a review for this game. I like doing reviews. And if not, then, well, good luck and have fun playing the game. Anyways, thanks for watching, and yeah, goodbye.